Good evening and welcome to the celebration of 11 years of progress in helping people who suffer from mental illness get back on track and make progress in their recovery and to be reintegrated into the community. It is a distinct pleasure for Pat and me to be with you tonight to both celebrate the successes of Sanctuary House over the past 11 years and also to celebrate the life of our son Chris, one of the founding members of Sanctuary House. Chris was our youngest son and became ill when he was a teenager. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when he was in his late teens. He was in a program in Chicago for 50 days, and at the end of that 50-day stay, the doctors were very discouraging, indicating that he might have to spend the rest of his life in a mental institution. My wife Pat and I rejected that assessment and thus began our journey with the National Alliance on Mental Illness and our involvement with a Sanctuary House back in 2000.
When Chris was first diagnosed, we were blessed almost immediately in Chicago by an encounter with a priest in the Chicago airport who right away told us that we would never make it unless we availed ourselves of other people and organizations who could help us and give us information. And he actually brought up NAMI. But because Frank was superintendent of schools in the city where we lived then, we didn't immediately reach out, and we know now that that is a protective type of feeling that many families go through in the beginning, where you are still hoping against hope that perhaps the diagnosis was wrong, perhaps with the right family treatment and the right medication, maybe the public will never have to know about this. And that's where we were way back then when Chris was first diagnosed. We never really got involved with NAMI, and it wasn't until we came to the Fort Bragg area in North Carolina that someone else reached out to us, and of course, I believe it was always God working behind the people who reached out to us. And we knew then how desperately we needed it if we were going to give Chris the best help and support that we could.
Around 2000, the idea of a day program for people with mental illness was brought to our community by Peter McKenna, who was a president of our local chapter of NAMI. And then through the efforts of Teresa Hansen and her extended family members, we started to seriously think about how we would develop a day program here in Greensboro. Out of that came the birth of Sanctuary House, and we were very fortunate to hire our first and only executive director, Jody Lorenzo Shively, and she has provided the leadership throughout this decade plus to provide a successful program for people who suffer with brain disorders. Our son, as mentioned, was one of the founding members, and through his involvement at Sanctuary House, he was able to get a job at A&T in the cafeteria, where he worked for 8 years. And he looked forward to that job every day, even though there were many days where it was rough for him to get up because he was on medications and they did have side effects. But he trucked away and went every day, and he took pride in his work, and they appreciated him at his work site. And also Sanctuary House followed him and provided him support as he slowly emerged from his mental illness and went on to get his driver's license when he was in his 30s after many tries. He also got married 4.5 years ago and was doing very well. Unfortunately, he died very suddenly, and we miss him dearly, but we know that he met so many of his life goals that we are consoled by his successes and the many friendships that he formed. Through the memorial that was established here at Sanctuary House, over $5,000 has been donated in his memory that will go to help other families and other people who suffer with brain disorders. So we are very proud of everything that Chris did, and we just thank the greater Sanctuary House community, especially Jody and all the staff members who worked with us and knew Chris so well.